Hi there guys, going to be a quick video tonight on what I've been up to with the Leshiy 2, namely the new plenum and the regulator gauge that I've made for it. But before that, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the people that have subscribed, commented, all that lark. We're up to just over 100 subscribers now, so thanks very much. Also, a big thanks to the members of the Airgun forum who found my vids. So thanks for all your comments and your kind words. Right, now that that's all out of the way, as you'll see here, it's a bit hard to see with the paracord wrap in the way, but under here is the plenum. This is the standard plenum, the one that comes on the rifle. Edgun quote it to be 43 cc's. So there it is there, this is the end that the regulator goes in, and it would sit in the gun like so. Get them a bit better shot for you, like so. What I've done is I've remade this plenum almost identical, except this section here has a ring or a thicker part of the wall for a gauge to be screwed into. It's about 10mm from the base, so 10mm from this shoulder here to about here, which is threaded for a gauge to go in. You can see, if you look down there, you can see that step there that's been brought up a little to enable the gauge to be screwed in. What that does is that allows us to see the regulated air pressure. The light's a bit funny, but you can see it there. It's set at about 70 bar, just under according to the gauge. It's a good gauge, it's a wiki one, the same that is on the back. See it there? That's the bottle pressure. I'm down to just under 100 bar on bottle pressure at the moment, and this one is reading just under 70. So the reason I made this new style setup is I wasn't keen on Edgun's current offering. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a picture up on the screen now. It's a red section that goes in between the plenum and the valve housing. It's anodised in red and it's got a gauge on it. I believe they use an EDMU on there one, so a digital gauge. I didn't fancy that because I wanted something that wouldn't spoil the look of the gun and that I could keep on semi-permanently. This allows me to monitor the reg pressure, make sure there's no creep on the regulator, and generally make sure that the rifle is working as it should. So I haven't touched the regulator in this, it's just as it came from Francisco in Edgun, Spain. It's, as far as I can tell, it's got no creep. There's a little bit of settle time. For those who may not be aware, settle time is when you leave the rifle for an extended period of time, say 6 to 8 hours, and the regulator just creeps up a tad. It's normally it's less than 5 bar, but it's just something to be aware of. It's not a problem. The first shot normally clears any settle and allows you to get back to shooting again. Another little tool I made just for helping me set the reg is this. This is simply a very, very small air cylinder that's able to be connected up to a bottle. This is a Foster Quick Connect here, so that when I want to set the regulator pressure, I don't have to use all this air that's stored in the air reservoir here. I can simply use this amount, connect it to a bottle, and then do my regulator pressure setting. This simply screws onto here. This is the original Leshiy 2 plenum. This would screw onto here like this. I could see what my pressure was using this gauge here. Then I could adjust accordingly by depressurising this unit, adjusting the reg, putting it back together and repressurising. This way I'm only using the air that's in here and the whip line. No other air needed, or I'm not wasting all this air here. Okay, so what's next for the Leshiy 2 then? Well, first of all, I'm going to be rebuilding the regulator. I don't think there's anything wrong with the regulator in the rifle, it's just that I would like to rebuild it just to make sure that there's no problems, no grease in there, any nasty things like that. It performs very well as it is, but there's always room for improvement, and I'd like to do that before we start messing around with any of the settings. So I'll make a video on that at a later date. Once the regulator has been rebuilt, I'll be experimenting with reducing the plenum size. For those who are unaware, the plenum contains the supply of regulated air to the valve. So from the valve to around here, this is all regulated air. From the regulator back here, so this tube, this, and then this bottom reservoir here is bottle pressure. The plenum volume is one of the many factors that control the potential energy that the rifle has, i.e. the larger the plenum, the more potential energy the rifle has and can produce larger muzzle energies. This is useful for FAC. For lower powers, i.e. sub 12, a large plenum can often be a hindrance, as it can affect negatively the way the regulator works. I'll talk more about this in the future as we make the plenum plugs, but the general rule of thumb is that you only need a large plenum when you're using FAC rifles. For sub 12, a smaller plenum is advisable. A rather well-informed viewer commented about the plenum size on one of my previous videos. He asked whether a smaller plenum would improve the efficiency of the rifle. I believe it will. My goal is to reduce the plenum volume down to around 10 to 15 cc's of air, down from the 42 that it is currently. Okay guys, that's about it from me. Before we go, I thought I'd show you the regulator gauge as the rifle is fired, so you can get an idea of the recovery time of the regulator. And see that there? That's about it guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.